everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee Brown Show. I am here with my co-host, Victoria Lynn.
Hi, guys.
Well, how are you? Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for
Well,
having
we're
me.
glad to have you
I
back
love to be here.
in the show again. Good to have you back. How you been? Something going on with this hair, I see.
I have to do something different.
Yeah, I see.
I have to switch it
Obviously.
up.
Yeah, we're gonna keep you in the house. But anyway, so welcome in everybody. We are super excited about this evening show. We have two amazing ladies that are coming in to connect with us. They're both doctors.
We love that.
Listen, amazing ladies in the business space doing some incredible things in the community. We're gonna be talking about legacy and leadership.
I think it's about time that we talk
I
about it.
think it's important. We've been talking to the guys over the past couple of weeks about legacy and leadership, and I thought it would be befitting to bring some of the ladies on. It's Women's International Month, Women's History, Legacy Builders, talking about women this month. And what better way to start out than to bring on some amazing ladies that have literally taken the journey to get their doctorate degrees. That is
Mm-hmm. It's
an
a journey.
amazing journey,
Mm-hmm.
and they did that. So please welcome Dr. Shamika Harris and also Dr. Purity Smith on to the show tonight. So welcome in. We're so excited.
Well, if I didn't go down.
So we're grateful to have both of you in the building. If you guys can introduce yourself really quickly. Dr. Purity, this is your first time on the show. So we definitely want to yield to you first. So welcome. This is your first time to the Coffee Brown Show. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Dr. Purity, can you hear us? Well, Dr. Shamika, you go ahead. I don't think she can hear us.
Hello, I am Dr. Shamika. I am the founder of A Beautiful Rebuild, where we are a nonprofit that services military men and women. I also am a author, life coach, and counselor, and I have worked in human resources for the last 12 years. So I'm kind of feeling real good about this Women History Month. This I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Obviously, because you have done some historic things. So, congratulations. I saw this past weekend that you had some information about what you're doing with your nonprofit organization. That was impressive. I am so excited about everything that you're doing. What made you connect to veterans? What even started you on that path?
Really, it was, speaking with the men and women in my family who have served in the military. And because, counseling has been a background of mine for many years, and being in human resources, I always kind of get I'm the one that everybody goes to talk about dealing with mental health and, how to navigate systems and all of that. So dealing with that. And then in my professional field as well, working with so many people who leave the military who are coming home and they don't even know how to do job applications, because it's a lot different than what they're used to being in the service. So helping them navigate systems, helping them complete documents. I'm like, who would be better for this than me, since I've worked so closely with so many veterans before. So just being, prompted to kind of find a way to help them navigate civilian life once they come home, pushed me to go ahead and start something so that I can give a personal touch to helping the veterans when they return home.
I love that. I love that. And I love the story behind that. That is so powerful, so impactful. When you think about having that personal connection, it gives you a different value. It gives you
Hmm.
a whole different meaning to why you're doing what you're doing.
I think that is necessary because sometimes nowadays you don't really find many resources like that for you to have a mental health environment where they can come and they can feel safe to share, to open up with the things that they've experienced or they experiencing now, trying to transition. That's a big deal. I definitely just been going down that route.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's not enough people in that industry to really support veterans. It's too many times that I drive down the highway and I see a veteran on the side of the road begging. And I'm like, you serve this nation. Why? There's no reason for it whatsoever at all. And I'm just kind of, it just makes me disheartened to think that in our country we don't remember those who have literally given their lives,
Their lives. Yeah.
have walked away from their families, gone
Mhm.
for all kind of tours all over the world, and we have the audacity to not take care of them. That is ridiculous. So kudos to you on that. I'm excited that you're doing that. Dr. Purity, are you with us?
Thank you.
Thank you, lady. Yes, she is with
I'm
us.
back.
Dr. Purity, I thought we was gonna lose you for a second. Welcome, welcome into the show. We're so excited to have you on with us. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do to add value to the community.
Just a little bit about myself. I am primarily an educator. So I've been a professor. I've also been a teacher the last couple of years. Um, and so I'm also a mother, a wife, an older sister. I'm the oldest of six. And so I definitely oh, I also do motivational speaking. I'm very big on like Christian counseling. That's what my PhD is in. Um, it's just I have my hands in a couple things, but and I'm also a published author as well. But I am very, very passionate about the ministry of women and children, especially girls. I think that there it has to be an advocate for them in place. I think that, and I'm a big advocate for this, but I say prayer and therapy. I think that everyone needs somebody to listen to them, for them to be able to say their thoughts out loud, to actually help them uh, be goal oriented and things like that. So, um, just being really passionate about women, children, and just always being that advocate for, especially for children as well. And hopefully I can dive into why I feel so adamant about that. But that's just a little bit about myself.
Well, that's a part of legacy. When Dr. Shamika just talked about the reason why she does what she does for veterans, same thing with you. That's a part of that legacy. So why are you so passionate about children?
So this is really beautiful, but um I just feel like growing up I did not have a voice. So I was very, very quiet, very just very quiet because of my surroundings. I really grew up in I grew up in a cult. And so I was very controlled in like my church environment and things like that. So I did not have a voice. And once I went to college and things like that, I realized I had a voice. I mattered. The things that I thought or wanted to say, they did matter. But it took a long time, and even I'm not ashamed to say sometimes I do struggle with that, like thinking like well, my thoughts or this don't matter, so I might take a step back. But that's something that I dealt with from a child, and so that's childhood trauma. And so I just think that if you can really uh, pinpoint as in a child things that they're going through during their childhood, you can really almost, I want to say, um, not have to deal with things that carry on as an adult. If you're able to really like target that while they're a child. Um, so I'm really adamant about that because kids go through a lot. They don't say as much as they should because they feel like, well, I'm just a child. I'm always told to like be in the child's place, all that stuff. But they really do, like, they're internalizing a lot of things, and you don't know what they're going through at home. You don't know what they're going through, a lot of times, like, oh, they're quiet or they're acting out this, but most of the time it's a reason why. It's a reason why that child is really, really quiet like that, or why that child is very angry. And I've learned that even being an educator for so long, you just have to really pinpoint, like, hey, come talk to me really quick, because like, what's really going on? Like, what happened this morning? What's been going on? That why are you acting that way? And it's like they need that.
Um, and there were people in my childhood I felt like, tried to reach me, but I was very unreachable. I just did not feel like I had a voice. And so, and then I feel like even with women, I feel like we have to have our tribe where we feel like that we're heard, we're seen, we matter, we're more than what everyone needs from us all the time. And so just diving into that, but that's why I'm very very adamant about like just speaking on that because it's sometimes just not spoken about enough, you know. And I just think somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to be that voice. Okay, it's okay that you just had a baby, but you're having postpartum depression. Or, these are things that like people don't want to talk about, but they have to be talked about. They have to.
I agree.
So
I can relate to everything that you said.
but yeah, I'll stop right there. I'm not gonna keep going.
I can relate to everything that you said. When I was younger, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I was the oldest girl in a house full of boys, and then my sister was the youngest. And I experienced so much. And those one time that something happened to me and I spoke about it, it took me a year to speak about it. When I finally did, nothing was done. It was like I had no protection, no one there to listen to anything that I was experiencing. So it caused me to get angry. It caused me to not enjoy life anymore because I didn't understand what was happening to me or why nobody was there to protect me. So I reached out to counselors. Thank God that I had some really good counselors, some amazing teachers. Those people matter so much in children's lives. So it took a long time for me to find my voice after experiencing all of that. Even with my children, I talk to them so much about a lot because I want them to understand that one, this is a safe place, and also your voice matters. What you're feeling, what you're experiencing, it matters, and we need to understand what you're going through. We need to be able to tap into that to feel what it is that you're experiencing.
Y'all give us 1 second. Where one of the mics is out, so give us 1 second while we fix that real quick.
Let me see if everybody can hear us now. It's showing that you can hear it. Let's see. Give us one. All right, so we should be good. Can y'all hear us? Let us know in the comments if y'all can hear us now, because Chrissy said she wasn't able to hear us. So we should be able to hear. Y'all should be able to hear us now. Are we good? Chrissy, let us know in the comments. Okay, Dr. Shamika said we're good. We're good. So you're gonna have to repeat what you said because they literally did not hear you because the actual mic went out.
That was good. It was
real good. It was real good. Disrespectful microphone. Okay, so we good now. Disrespectful microphone.
Dr. Purity, I was saying that I can relate to everything that you were saying because when I was younger, I didn't have a voice, or so I felt like I didn't have a voice. When something happened to me, it took me a year to speak about it. And when I did, nothing was done. It was like I didn't have any protection, anyone there to take what I said and help resolve the issue. So that caused me to get angry. I was upset about everything. I didn't even want to live life anymore. But thank God I had some really good teachers. I had some amazing counselors. I felt comfortable with them and I was able to talk with them because school was like my escape. When I was at school, I felt safe. I felt happy. I felt like I could be myself. But when I was at home, everything that was happening in the environment seemed to take a toll on me. So with my children, we talk a lot because I want them to understand that what they're experiencing, it matters. Their voice is valid. And if I can help you work through whatever it is that you're experiencing, let's do that. If we can take control of the things that's happening as a child, we won't have to heal from those things later as adults. A lot of us, especially millennials and the generation before, are still healing from things that happened when they were children. So we're set back and we have to catch up. We have to play catch up. We have to help our children not ever have to catch up or heal from a lot of the things that we experience.
I love it. And that goes back to legacy and leadership. Educators are leaving a legacy, a footprint in the earth. And that's why I often tell people, if you choose the path of being an educator, you have got to literally have a undying love for the generations that you're serving. If you really don't have an undying love for those generations and you have a heart of servitude, that's the wrong industry for you to be in, because it is all acts of service. Like, you are literally giving yourself away for the greater good of those generations. My daughter actually texted me yesterday and she sent me a picture of one of my old students, and she was like, "Mom, do you remember this student?" And I kept looking at them, and as they get older, you got to kind of look 2 or 3 times and be like, which child is that? And so my daughter started diving into who he was as he was growing up. And he literally sent her a text, said, "I remember your mom because she accepted me." He was my staff aide. And he said, "Your mom accepted me." He was going through a very, very difficult time as far as his identity was concerned. And I spent a lot of time with him saying, "Hey, listen, you are exactly who God says you are. I don't care what anybody says to you when you leave this building. You're exactly who God said you are. You are a chosen vessel. You're a royal priesthood. You're an amazing being." I used to literally tell him every single day, and I would talk to him several times on Friday, because guess what? He got to leave and go home for 2 days to deal with that. And it's one of our coaches was supposed to be on this evening, but she's at home to pot with her husband. Coach Thibodeau was supposed to be in the building this evening, and she literally was sharing with us about that as far as giving that kind of energy to students. She talked about one time, she and I were conversing, and she was talking about one time where there was a student who literally did not want to go home during spring break, summers, Christmas holidays. He had no advocacy in his home whatsoever, absolutely none. And I can't fathom in my mind a child having to be subjected to that, and they literally have to try to live through that. How do they live through that? How do they survive those challenging experiences without somebody to be a beacon of hope and light for them? That is horrible. And so it's really important when we talk about legacy and leadership that we understand that we have to leave our footprint in the earth for the next generation. How are we doing that? Through nonprofit organizations, through education, through the investment of spending time. Children don't understand resources. They understand time. And if you ask any child what happened with mommy and daddy, what happened, what y'all do this weekend? Well, my mommy, we played with this and we did that. They can't say to you, "Oh, well, you know what? We went to the store and my mom spent $172 because we had to go." They don't care about that. They care about the investment of time. And when we pour into them, that is leaving our footprint in the earth. A lot of people don't realize how important Rosa Parks was to the educational system. She invested a lot. I grew up on the same street she lived on, and she invested a lot. They always talk about her on the bus. Right. I don't care about her being on the bus. She's done so much more than there's just that one isolated incident that they tried to capture her in and put her in this box. But Rosa Parks was a beast. And when I tell y'all, that lady said what she had to say. And she was a tiny lady. Like, she's really a little woman. But when she opened her mouth, she commanded respect, and she'd earned it because of how much she'd given. That is legacy. That is leadership. So Dr. Shamika, talk to us about what it means to you when you talk about legacy and leadership. What is it that you know we have to do as women to leave our footprint in the earth? Not just saying, "Oh, I was somebody's mama. Oh, I was somebody's sister. Oh, I was somebody's auntie. Oh, I was somebody's cousin." What is it that we need to be honing in on to really leave our footprint in the earth? You got to unmute yourself.
Okay. To leave legacy for me, it's just an important thing as a woman. I try not to always talk about, I'm a mom, which that is very important. I want to leave legacy for my children, but this is even bigger than just them. This is going to, their cousins, my nieces and nephews. This is going to say, okay, well, this woman who has never, stepped foot on a soil to fight in a war is doing something to help the veterans. This woman is here fighting for women to have rights. This woman is here to make sure that we have a voice. This woman is here to make sure that we are able to be bold in who we are and what we were created to do. We all are here with a purpose. And that is my number one thing. Like, man, we have to make sure that we're tapping into what God has created us to do. And a lot of times we just don't spend enough time in talking about purpose. We hear people say, you have a purpose, you have a purpose. But what is that?
Right. And how do I discover
that? How do you discover that? How do I push that? How do I bring forth that? We don't do that.
Right.
That's my biggest thing. That's why I call myself, I'm the pusher. Because whatever it is in you, I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to make sure that you're able to build up the courage to actually tap into what God has called you to do. Because if we all can actually tap into our purpose, can y'all imagine? Like, man, I can only imagine what we can do in the earth if we were to tap into what we were here for. And so when we're talking about legacy and leaving a legacy, we need to be honing in on those things. It's so much bigger than just, I want to leave, some money. I want to leave a business. I want to leave, a car. No. I want to leave where when you think of me, you're going to think that, man, this woman really, really helped us tap into who we were created to be. This lady really tapped into, pushing us to be our greatest selves. This woman really, she hit the ground running. Literally, when they hear this statement of, the devil get mad because she woke up, I want them to really feel that.
I know that's right.
That's the thing. When the devil get up, he see that I'm up in the morning and I'm hitting the floor. Oh, I need him to be nervous. I need hell to be nervous.
I understand.
And that's legacy for me. I need that to be, what we're here for and what our legacy is, not just about material or superficial things.
And it's so important too that people understand that, like you said, legacy is not about the tangible, it's about the intangibles. I was talking to a student not long ago that I saw that I hadn't seen since she was a tiny human. Now she's grown, and she and I were conversing the other day. And I said, what was the main thing that I taught you? She said, how to care about my own body. She said, I didn't understand hygiene. I didn't understand anything about my, femininity. I didn't understand anything about how to care for myself during my times of womanhood monthly, how to cleanse my body during that time. You taught me how to care for myself. I did not know that. My mom never taught me that. She just told me there's the pads, and that was it.
Y'all, how many times have we heard that conversation?
Yeah, that's crazy though, and that's and that's legacy, because what's going to happen is what I poured into her, she's going to pour into her daughters, and they're going to pour it into their daughters, and it's going to keep going. And I told her, I said, that is legacy. Mm-hmm. That's legacy, because you're going to always remember when your daughters come into the earth, you're going to sit them down like I set you down. You're going to have a candid conversation with them. Then you're going to show them what they need to do. Now, mind you, this girl was 13, 14. Now she's in her mid-20s. And she said, I still do the exact process that you taught me when I was at school. The exact process that you taught me. I said, that's ingrained in your subconscious mind. So your daughters are going to be blessed by what I poured into you way back then. And she said, I'm just grateful because nobody ever told me that. And it's crazy to me that the little things like that we don't know. Mm-hmm. That to me, it's just like, it's mind blowing to me. Mm-hmm. For us not to know about the basic hygiene necessities to keep our bodies at full capacity, and just little things like that, and like Dr. Purity was talking about just leaning into the assignment. But if we don't know the assignment, we can't lean into it. Mm-mm. And one thing that I learned about the steps to knowing your assignment is, what is it that you will do without being compensated? Mm-hmm. For years, I did administration at my church when I lived in Florida for 17 years, religiously. I loved it. They never had to call me. They never had to ask me to do it. They never had to ask me to state. They never asked me. I love it. I literally love it. And come to find out through a test, administration, exhortation, mercy. That was my at the time when I was younger. It has changed to be to shepherd, empowerment, something else. Shepherd, something about leading people now. But it makes sense because if you go from administration, exhortation, and mercy, it makes sense to go right into leadership. That as time progresses, it will develop into leadership. But I now lead people in coaching through those particular tests. You've got to know what's inside in order for it to come out. And if nobody knows, they can't make it come out. I'll say this, and I'm gonna lean into Dr. Purity, but I literally had an Asian parent when I was in the middle school system. This lady said the way that Americans govern their children is not like any other culture in the universe. She literally sat down and showed me a trajectory system that they use to identify their children's gifts and talents while they're tiny humans. I said, well, nothing like this in America. She said, I know. And that's why y'all failing. And she wasn't being funny. She was serious. She said, can you imagine? I said, so this is why when your children come to school, they are never distracted by peer pressure.
Yeah.
You think about how many students from other cultures that literally they don't give into it at all. They don't even buy it. I literally had a student that is in the Nation of Islam during Ramadan, right? One of the kids that's in the Nation of Islam went to the cafeteria. He almost beat the boy up for physically going into the cafeteria. I said, why did you almost hit him? He said he doesn't even need to be around it because it's too tempting. We're required to fast from sunrise to sunset. It is not an option. And if our parents found out we consumed anything outside of water, it's going to be hell to pay when we get home. So I don't want to even go in there. And just to see how they've created a culture and a community inside a culture and a community that is not going to be compromised. That's how we have to start at our households, because it started in their homes. It did not start in those schoolhouses. Right. It didn't start anywhere else but at their address.
Yes.
When we talk about legacy and leadership, it starts at your address. Dr. Purity, hop in with us on this conversation. This is good.
Most definitely. I definitely want to just piggyback on what you're saying. That to me goes into being a generational curse breaker, right? Mm-hmm. So it's where you come in and you're like, this stops with me. You know, I'm not going to do this same thing. I'm going to be different. I'm not going to go in that direction. I'm going to go this direction because this direction is different. I don't want that same outcome that I got, you know? And so, and just for instance, like I use myself because it's just a little bit easier. But when I was brought up in a I'll say a broken home. They were good parents. I'm not going to take anything from them. They tried their very best, but it was a broken home. So I really had two homes. So you had two ways of like living. You go over here and it's one way, and you go over here and it's another way. And so I didn't have that, like I didn't have the collaborated like mom, dad in the home. It was just different. And so, and I'm not taking anything from that, but what I'm saying is I didn't want that. I didn't want it for my children. Mm-hmm. I knew how it affected me. I knew how it affected me to not have my parents together. And it happened when I was like 5. So I honestly really didn't even remember them together. I've always just remembered like 2 separate homes. And so just to have like the differentiation of two, like I'll go over here on the weekends and I can see you, or I'll see you for 2 weeks and then I'm seeing you. It was a lot, because then at the end of the day I feel like you're very divided. Or even like holidays and things like that, it's like, well, I have to pick whose house I'm going to for the holidays. And
Mhm.
it's like that's difficult for a child. um it's like you're always having to choose a parent. And so it's just things that, or like I'll say, um being very aware of like your child's mental state, like telling them that it's okay, like validating them, and just like breaking that generational curse, just like being a generational curse breaker. And that's not easy. I feel like that I'm not taking it from anybody, but I'm going to say that you really have to be chosen, because you are consistently, opposition is always put in front of you, because you're taking that role on and you're deciding it's going to stop with me. I'm not going to do that. um I can go on and on about that, but it's not easy. But I feel like when you're saying I'm leaving a legacy, I'm trying to lead, that means that you're gonna be different and you're okay with that. You're gonna
Mhm.
lead your life in a different direction. Um you're saying, okay, my life is going to take a different path in so many different ways. And it might look really crazy to people because I'm not doing what everybody did in my family, or everybody's doing in the family. I'm taking a stand and I want to do something different. And I just think like when you're saying legacy, you're trying to leave behind something that cannot be taken away for generations to generations. And it's almost like I almost want to use Abraham, the promise, the promise that God put in Abraham's lineage. It didn't leave.
Mhm.
It didn't leave. And that's something that we look at and we're like, you know what? I want the promises of God to start with me, to start in my household. It might not have been in my household growing up, but it has to start with me. And just being okay with the opposition that comes with that, but knowing that you're leading and that you are leaving a legacy, but like through the power of Christ, because we can't do it on our own. And I just, I'll definitely, I can keep going on and on, but I definitely would say like just being able to validate your children, being able to hear them out. When I think also like when things happen, that are like tragic,
Mhm.
I think that people need to pay attention to that, because I think that it's easy for like us to be like, oh, it hurt me, like, oh, the loss, the whatever, the change, the whatever that is. Like, give you example, like, if your kids changing schools all the time, that takes a toll on them. Like,
Mhm.
check on them. Yes, you might have to keep moving because you're trying to do better for them, whatever, but like it takes a real toll on them. Like, if their actions have changed and things like that, like you already know how you feel about, okay, I keep moving, I keep having to do that. But
Mhm.
think about your child too. Like, validate, like, hey, how was your day? I'm not making friends, mom. Mom, it's hard for me to connect with this or that because I was here for a long time and now I have to keep moving here.
Mhm.
I moved every 2 years, so I know that feeling as well. It's very hard to connect with people because you're so used to just moving on. Like, well, this is not permanent, so I already know I'm gonna. And that, no, like, validate them, like make sure that they're grounded in wherever. And that sometimes can just be you. Sometimes that's you. Okay, well, I know when I get home I can talk to my parent. Yes, I feel this loss. Yes, I feel this different change. Like, but I know I can talk to my parent. I can talk to God. I always tell my kids, if you can't talk to me, talk to God. If you're scared of school, if you're mad, whatever, talk to God too. If you can't talk to me, because I know that I'm not gonna always be there. I'm a human being, but at the end of the day, like, I want them to have something greater to grasp besides me. Just in case nobody is there. So I just think that I love when you say legacy and leadership, because sometimes leadership can be very lonely. We
Mhm.
don't talk about that.
For sure.
Sometimes it can be very, very lonely. because you're standing alone in what you're doing. Whatever you're trying to pave the pavement, you try to pave that concrete for that foundation, and you're the first one doing it. It could be very lonely because people don't understand, or they might be like, not even, I'm not gonna say but ignorant to what it's taking
Mm-hmm.
for you
Mm-hmm.
to pave that way. And so what they don't understand, sometimes they take it and they look at it in a negative way, and it makes it look like they're looking at you negatively. And so you just have to be very, very strong in that journey, so I can keep going, but it's so many points with that. I love that legacy and leadership. They're one and the same. They go hand in hand. With you leaving a legacy, you have to lead. You're not following, you're leading.
That's
I
good.
want to I want to go back a little bit when Dr. Shamika was talking about unlocking your purpose. Because a lot of times we all know that it's something here for us, but we don't know how to get to those things. We don't know how to unlock that within ourselves. If you're someone who have experienced a lot of trauma, or someone who have experienced childhood issues and still having a hard time overcoming those things, you're never going to unlock your purpose until you heal from those things that happen, because those are all blockages. It's creating a lot of blockage within your path. And you notice once, until you heal those things, all of those blockages just create more chaos. Nothing is falling into place. It seems like things are just all over the place and you don't know what direction to go in. You feel suppressed, depressed, anxiety, all of these things. So in order for you to unlock your purpose, you have to heal from all that past stuff. You have to let go of the past and allow yourself to come into a new journey, a new life for yourself. And understand that, yes, like Dr. Purdy said, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be lonely. But as long as you grasp onto God, the higher, the greater, then you can unlock these things. You will see the vision so clear. It'll be so clear to you, but everybody else, they're like, dang, they ain't doing nothing. They still talking about this, or they still living here. Nothing is moving for them. It's not for you to see. This is between me and God. Me and God are in alignment. I'm on my path. Focus on your path. I'm focused on mine. And when you finally get on that path, when you finally align with your purpose, you will see everything start to open up. You don't have to work hard for all these things to happen. You just have to be in alignment with it. How do you get in alignment? You have to heal from your path, your past. You have to get in alignment with God. You have to cleanse yourself from the old you and welcome in a new you. So when you start to build legacy, you're taking on a new role of becoming a leader, becoming your best self. And when you start to pave that way of legacy building, now you have a clear mind. Now you have a clear vision. Now you can see clearly of where God is taking you and where you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be helping along your journey. And again, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that happened overnight. Sometimes it may look like that for the people on the outside looking in, but you know, day in, day out, you've been working at it. You know, day in, day out, whatever it is that you have been experiencing with your child, you've been working at it. So I don't know. I want to make sure that we understand legacy and leadership. It starts within. It's not something that's going to start on the outside. It's not something that people outside of you are going to be able to understand or tell you how to do. The only thing people outside of you can do is help guide you along that journey. That's it.
And we have to be patient with ourselves as you're becoming a different person, because you're not familiar with that person. That's another thing, because as you're shedding off, it's the same as with a snake. If you ever notice when a snake sheds, it's this drawn out experience that they go through. You're looking at them and it's drawn out. Like, why can't you just shed already? Because it takes time for me. The body that I have now has to be able to be fully ready to deal with whatever the elements are on the outside. So if you really think about it, when you think about the body that you had before and your ability to withstand certain things, you couldn't withstand certain things with that body. But the new body that you're coming into, you'll be able to withstand whatever those oppositions are, whatever that adversity is, whatever that calamity or chaos is that shows up. You'll be able to withstand it and overcome it. Whereas before, that body that you had previously, you cannot address what you need to address in the new. You won't be able to handle it. So you have to be very patient as you shed off who you were. And you got to be able to admit your defects, admit your faults, admit, what's going on with you without judgment of yourself. Yes. But really telling everybody around me, hey, I am shedding off who I was. And so there may be some bumps and bruises along the way. It's not intentional. I am not trying to harm you in any way, shape, or form. But as I am shedding, you're going to notice a difference in me. And guess what? The difference that you notice in me, you may not like it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times with that shedding comes the release of old relationships and the embracing of new ones, new that you never even thought that you would be a part of. People's lives, somebody will show up in your life that you just look at them like, I would have never on my own reconnaissance connected to you. I would have never even thought about it in that other skin. But now that I've shed that skin off and I'm becoming another entity, I now am attracted to different types of people. So as you're shedding, sometimes you don't have to apologize. You just got to keep it moving. Mm-hmm. You just literally have to dissolve and keep it moving, because some people are not. If I were to sit here and try to explain to every single person that I've had to shed off why I kept moving, I don't even know why. I don't know why you was chosen for me to say I can't deal with you no more. I don't know. I can't answer all. Some of the questions are mysterious to me, and I ask, like, why did you tell me not to talk to that person? Don't worry about it. Just shed off. Just shed off. When you're shedding. And another thing about shedding is, if you ever notice when a snake sheds, they don't look back at the old skin. They don't go turn around and look and say, oh, that's who I was. They disinterested in it. They totally disconnect from it. Same way with a chameleon not a chameleon, but a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Yes. They don't go back and look at the casing that they were housed in. They just fly off. And they just keep going in that new direction. So that's another thing too, because when you actually look at what the word says, and it talks about this candidly, he said, I let go of everything, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. It don't matter what it was. I press, meaning I intentionally fight forward, intentionally, because there is always going to be opposition, opposing voices, opposing energies, opposing voices that come into your head. But you can cast all that stuff down, period. Oh, no, not today, buddy. Nope, gotta go, gotta keep it moving. Nope, no thanks, I'm good. Nah, I hear what you're saying, but no thank you. I remember when I used to answer to you as a problem. No thanks, I'm gonna keep it moving. And so you have to be able to have those conversations with yourself when it comes to legacy and leadership. Like you said, Dr. Purity, there's gonna be many days where you're going to be in isolation amongst people because of your assignment, because of what you have to do, because of what's going to be required of you. You will literally be in a sea of people and totally isolated. Yes. Because you have to do something, and you got to keep that tunnel vision, just like we see with a horse and the bridles on the horse. When you see bridles on the horse, they're one direction. There's nothing to look around to. They can't even physically see anything else going on outside of straightforward. And I asked because there's horse trainers out where I live at, because I live in the suburban rural area in a suburban community. And I asked them one time, I said, why do they do that? And why do horses have bridles? They said because horses are sensitive creatures, and they can easily be distracted. Mm-hmm. So they literally have to be bridled and get them to focus on where they're going. Otherwise, they literally will go in. They literally cannot control their directions because they're very sensitive to everything around them. So they have to be honed in, directed. And that's the same way with us. We're very sensitive to what's going on around us. Even when we in the car, you think about how many times when you're driving and you just instinctively start looking around. For what? Focus on this way. All that stuff going on over there has nothing to do with you. It literally doesn't. You got to stay focused on going in that direction. And I always talk about the rubberneckers. Y'all know about the rubberneckers, our cousins on the highway. Every time something happens, they're so busy rubbernecking and they're causing everybody else to be distracted, right? So we got to stay focused. We got to stay focused as leaders and as we're building these legacies. And again, to piggyback on what you were saying, regardless of what everybody else is doing and saying, I can't even explain to you why God put this in my spirit. I don't know what He's doing. All I know is He said, go 2 steps forward, 3 steps to the right, and then take 2 more steps diagonally, and then go across the field, and then walk on the other side of it. I can't sit here and explain it to you, because as you're explaining, you're still being distracted. And when you start explaining, what do people do? They want to pull you back. It wasn't designed for them. It's almost like, you know, pieces to, like, if you think about the mind of a person that creates a puzzle, what the heck was you thinking about to break all these pieces apart and then tell somebody else to go put it together? Yes. But I don't have the brain to cut up a puzzle piece. I don't know how to do that. I'm like, that's too much energy for me. Like, I can't even think about, but somebody sat down and thought through Legos. Think about, somebody thought through Legos and they give you a picture of what it's supposed to look like. Who told you to think about this? I don't know who told me to think about it, but it worked, right?
If you wouldn't have said it, I would have never thought about it. But it was so complex. Like, really?
Yeah, who told you to think about something like that? I mean, you think about it. Who told somebody to think about creating an inanimate object that transports humans all over the world? Who told you to think about that? The creator of the universe told me to think about it. I can't sit here. The Wright brothers, when they built the planes, they didn't have time to, let me tell you, with a plane being as brilliant as it is, it still came back up. Did y'all know that? Planes cannot go in reverse. That's the reason why you got all those people on the tarmac literally pushing the plane. Somebody is pushing the plane back because it cannot go backwards. Did you know that? That's how we need to be living our lives, the same as a plane, where we cannot go backwards. Yes.
It's nothing back there.
It ain't nothing back there. And even in the curiosity of what was, it's still not enough for what is or what shall be. Even in the curiosity, it's not enough for what is or what shall be. It's just not.
Even in the curiosity.
No, it's not. You know, you think about, when you start really processing it. I'll give you one more example, and we're going to get ready to slide out for the night. When you have a baby, we can talk about what happened, but we have no emotional tie to that experience. Not only do we have no emotional tie to that experience, we literally cannot reinvent the feelings of what happened while that child was in there. I can't even begin to I don't understand. I can't remember. I can't. It's not there. So if we start taking control of our mind to purge out what was, so much so that we don't have an emotion tied to it, we don't have a feeling tied to it, we don't have anything tied to it. All we know is that it's a result that has shown up and manifested, but I have no ties to what was. I have no ties to the pain, like you talked about, to get rid of all of the stuff and things that happened when in our yesteryears. You have to literally release it, and it's intentional. It's intentional. Sometimes we have to go to a therapist. I'm going to say this one more time. You have to sit on somebody's couch and allow them to help you to navigate through this process. Why do you think we have coaches? Why do you think we have mentors? Why do you think we have guardians and leaders and all these different individuals who are already taken that journey to help us to navigate through it. So don't be embarrassed or ashamed as you're doing what you need to do to start building legacy, to start being a leader. The first thing you got to do is go get help yourself. Mm-hmm. I shared with our community recently. I sent a picture of me and my coach, Eric Thomas. I don't trust any coach that don't have a coach. Mm-hmm. I don't trust them. Eric Thomas is the number one motivational speaker in the whole universe, and he has coaches. I don't trust anybody that does not answer to somebody else. If somebody were to look into my life and see my life and say, "Oh, you don't have a coach? Oh, you that good that you don't need nobody else? Oh, so you better than Jesus." Jesus never went independently of anything. Jesus had whole communities around him. Why? Accountability. If you say you're a leader and you say you're building a legacy, you got to be accountable. People have to be able to trust you. And how can they trust you if you literally don't have a traceable process that you're in? Ain't nobody arrived. Not nobody. Nobody has arrived. I don't care how high you get. You will never arrive. You won't.
What's the destination?
It ain't no such thing. Exactly. There's no such thing as a destination as a humanoid. It's only let's get better. Let's be more productive. Let's create more. Let's build more. Let's grow more. Let's advance more. And otherwise, you become stagnant. And the next stage is we're going to be at your funeral. Somebody going to be eulogizing you. Period. Mm-hmm. Period. So listen, everybody, this has been an amazing segment tonight. Dr. Purity, thank you so much for being on with us tonight. We are so grateful that you had time in your schedule to come and be with us. Dupriya is in the building. We are not letting her go outside for 5 weeks with the hair ministries. I mean, the hair is fabulous. So she's going to have to stay in the house for 5 whole weeks. And Dr. Shamika, thank you so much for being on with us. I know you have so many other responsibilities and things to do as you continue to forge forward, as you're progressing through your process and getting things underway. Super excited for both you and Dr. Purity on everything that you guys are doing. We're ecstatic about what is going to happen next. But right now, we're resting in what is happening right now. And we're grateful for every single step that we're taking along the journey to that place called greatness. And even when we get to greatness, we're going to go past that to the greatest. And even when we get to the greatest, we're going to go past that to become legendary. And even after we're legendary, we're going to continue to lead somebody down that path to become the best version of themselves. So with that, thank you to our audience. You guys have been amazing in the comments, hanging out with us on tonight. We appreciate you guys tuning in and tapping in every single week that we are in the building. So we bid you grace and peace until the next time. God be with us all. You guys have an amazing night, and we will see you next week for another edition of the P. Koffe Brown Show. Grace and peace. Good night, everybody. See y'all again soon. Peace.